Rev up your engines!
Kevin Yanni says, will my 2014 Corolla last forever? I hate to burst your bubble, but nothing lasts forever. I'm not going to last forever. You're not going to last forever. Hey, a 2014 Corolla can last an awful long time, though. I mean, I've seen those things with 500,000 miles on them, and they weren't even taken care of that well by the people. They are so well made. Change the oil every 5,000 miles. Take care of it. Change the Toyota coolant once every 7 years or 150,000 miles. They're low maintenance still. They are great cars to have, but nothing lasts forever. Everything eventually breaks. If it's a machine, it moves, it has friction. Friction eventually breaks things. The art of today says, Scotty, my 2000 Toyota Corolla burns oil. What's the cost? It has over 250,000 miles on it. Okay, you answered your own question. It's got a lot of miles. Things wear out. As I said earlier, friction occurs, things wear, and then they burn oil because the piston rings are worn. But before you freak out, first, go and find your PCV valve, positive crankcase ventilation valve. On that car, it'll cost you 15 bucks. Go to any auto parts store, tell them what you want. They can show you on the car it was, sell it to you, and put it on. If that valve's stuck open, the positive crankcase vents the air that's all inside the engine, it'll suck that in, but when it's open and not having open and close like it's supposed to, if it's stuck open, it will also suck oil with the oil vapor, and then you'll burn a lot of oil. So maybe that'll fix it. But if not, they just get old, they burn some oil, add it. My grandson's 2007 Camry, it's got that oil burning engine, burns oil, but he just adds oil. He's been driving it 6 years that way, and it still goes down the road, as long as you keep oil on it. MNL says, how do I keep my 95 Buick LeSabre with 66,000 miles going strong? Keep doing what you're doing. Don't drive it much. That's a 95. And you got 66,000 miles. So let's see, that's a 29-year-old vehicle, and it's only got 66,000 miles on it, right? So that means you're only driving that thing like 2,100 miles a year. Keep driving at that, it probably will last a long time. You know? I mean, change the oil and filter probably once a year for you because you're not doing much mileage. You don't want to change it every 5,000 with synthetic oil or once a year. You don't do the mileage, so change the oil once a year and just keep doing whatever you're doing because 66,000 miles isn't that much. And I'm assuming you got the LeSabre that's got that 3,800. And those 3,800 V6s are pretty good engines. They can last a really long time. So just keep driving it like you are. Not much. Power Ranger says, man, how do you get a car under 500 bucks? People are so dishonest, it's crazy. And then DMS 2024 says, you can go at city auto auctions. Okay, if you're going to go to an auto auction, you better be a pro and really understand, because a lot of times you can't drive them, you can't start them up, you're just getting what you see. Who knows if it runs or not, right? Now, I know people who go to auto auctions, but they're pros, and they have auto auction dealer licenses. And at that level, most auctions actually give them a guarantee. They won't give you one. A lot of them have a guarantee. Let's say they pay 1,500 bucks for a car at auction. If they can prove that it's going to cost them more than that to fix the car, the auction will take the car back and they won't give them their 1,500 bucks back, but they'll give them 1,500 credit to buy another vehicle. So those guys aren't gambling. But you going by yourself, it's a big gamble. You might get lucky. Hey, you might find a jewel in the rough, right? But I've had so many people. I had a guy in Houston, he bought a Toyota Celica. He bought it at an auction. He towed it to me and said, what's wrong? Believe it or not, it was one of my customers' car. And what had happened was they drove it through flood water in a hurricane in Houston. Sucked water in the engine, it blew the engine, right? They were good customers. I said, well, let me take it apart. And saw that the pistons were bent, everything was destroyed, and told them, just get rid of the car. So they got rid of the car. Well, this guy bought that car, and I said, as soon as he towed it to me, I said, look, don't even take it off the tow truck. Take it back, because look, I showed him. I said, open the trunk. So he opened the trunk, and in the trunk was the head of the engine. But the head was in the trunk because I had taken it off and put it in the trunk and told him, well, it's no good, don't fix it. I said, this was my customer's car. And I was told it was useless. It was flooded out. I said, why did you buy this car? Oh, I liked the way it looked. I said, well, you can park it and look at it all day long, but it's never going to run again until you put a whole engine in it because the flood water totally decimated the engine. It wasn't even worth fixing. You would have had to replace the engine. So you got to be leery at auctions. Tracy Betts says, Scotty, if I get my car repaired and mechanic breaks apart my car, are they responsible for paying to replace it? Well, they should be. You would have a really hard time proving that they actually had broke something and it wasn't broken that way in the first place. Because due to the complexity, even if they didn't break something, let's say you got a trouble code like P0116, mechanic might fix it. And then later, check engine might come on and say, you didn't fix my car right. Well, let's say if it was a different code that came up after I'd fixed it. That will often happen. You can have multiple problems in a car, and the problem is a lot of times when it trips one trouble code, it stops analyzing others down the line that are related to that. And then even though you fixed one problem, there are other problems, and then they pop up, right? So it's almost impossible to actually prove unless you had cameras in your car, which some people do, like Teslas. They're always running cameras. If they see the guy, they got a picture of him breaking it, you got him by the short and curly. It's going to be very hard to prove something like that. An honest mechanic would say, yeah, that broke. Now, there are cases where I will even warn people ahead of time so they understand. Because sometimes things break and it's old age and it's not the mechanic's fault. Let's say you got a V6 engine. It's got 6 coil-on plugs, one for each spark plug. Say it's got 180,000 miles. Those coil-on plugs are plastic and rubber, and they're pushed into the engine. You have to remove them to get to the spark plug. Well, if they've been on there for 180,000 miles, just the fact of you grabbing them, twisting them to the side and pulling them out can crack the plastic, and then the car will misfire. Even though you put in 6 new spark plugs, it could run worse. I've had that happen to me. And now I learned from the past, I explain ahead of time. I say, look, your car's got all this mileage on it. Those things haven't been touched for 180,000 miles. They're plastic and rubber. They're on top of a hot engine. If I change those spark plugs, one of them or 2 of them might crack, and then we'll have to replace those, and some of those are 80 to 180 bucks a piece. So I warn people, and I tell them, look, if your car's running perfectly fine, leave it alone. Because you might find, let's say, worst case scenario, I put 6 spark plugs in, and every one of those coils cracked, and they were 120 bucks a piece. That's 720 bucks you just spent that you didn't have to spend. So some things are just going to break from age if they're like that. You got to warn people when you work. Honest mechanic will warn people. Same thing when I work on AC systems. I tell people, look, it's an AC system. There could be 10 things wrong with this car. You're never going to know until I start taking apart, analyzing stuff, and then trying the best case scenario to fix it. Because, of course, if you changed every part, it's fixed. That's why when you go to a dealer, a lot of times they say, it's going to be $2,500 to fix your AC system because they're replacing every single part. Well, of course it's going to be fixed, right? Well, I try to figure out the less expensive way of fixing it, and I'll say, well, let's try this, then we'll try that. But there's always a gamble because there could be an internal fault if you change the compressor and you don't change the expansion valves. The expansion valve's going bad. That'll ruin the new compressor too. So there's always a little bit of gamble, but an honest guy should fix his own mistakes. Barack says, Scotty, what is your thoughts on Tesla only issuing a software update as a response to a recall of 2 million of their cars, basically all the Teslas ever made, to fix its autopilot system? Yeah, you know, it's just a scam that the guy pulls on just about everything. He thinks he can fix everything with a software update. And generally it doesn't work because the software isn't right to begin with. A lot of times it's actually a hardware problem, and they try to stop a hardware problem by a software patching it up. And it just doesn't work. I'll give you a perfect analogy. Years ago, Chrysler had all kinds of problems with their transmissions not shifting right, and they had to recall them. And a recall was a software fix. They couldn't do it over the air like him. They had to bring your car in, they had to reprogram it. Well, I had many of my customers have those Chryslers. They went and got their computers reprogrammed to make them shift better. They got them back, and they still shifted like crap. Didn't fix anything. By law, they covered the recall. They reprogrammed. They didn't fix it. They would have had to replace, millions of transmissions, which would have bankrupted Chrysler. So they just went on their merry way, and they didn't fix anything at all. And most of his stuff is the same exact thing. Sports God 05 says, Scotty, what's your opinion on a 2021 GMC 2500 HD with Duramax diesel? Okay, I'm not a GM fan, but the GMC 2500s and up are decent vehicles. They can last a long time. Now, one thing you have to understand about GM diesels is they do have a limited lifespan. If it's low mileage, it's 2021. Let's say it's low mileage. It might last a really long time. I have had people buy those things with like 180,000 miles on them. That I wouldn't do, because then when the engine and transmission goes, they cost a fortune to fix. Hardly anybody's any good at working on diesel engines, and the guys who are, they charge up the wazoo working on those things. So keep that in mind. If it's low mileage, it might still go quite some time. It's not like like the old diesels that can go 300, 400, 500,000 miles. They're not that well made. Generally, they get around 200 or so, and they start to fall apart. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.